You're contagious. Don't blow your nose in public. Holy cow.
Cough, yeah.
I felt fine, you just don't sleep well.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
I
sneeze.
wear contacts, so I don't have a prescription for my glasses yet. So I rushed down to the eye doctor. I was like, I need some glasses, dude, because I had to come up with something I couldn't even see, you know? It was just brutal. So, a lot better today.
You know, we went through Atlanta Airport last week, 2 weeks ago Sunday, the busiest airport in the world. You could have set a bomb off in there. I mean, there was nobody.
Really?
It was almost spooky.
Is that right?
I mean, there was nobody in Atlanta. Now, when we came back to St. Louis a couple Sundays later, St. Louis Airport was a little bit busier than it was when we left. But sitting down there, I mean, going down there, there's like, plane was a third full.
Is airfare the same cost, though?
No.
Is it way down?
Matter of fact, my wife is she looks at that stuff constantly, and normally the day we left to go down there, you know, normally the closer you get to the day you want to leave, they jack up the price. And I mean, flying from St. Louis to Fort Lauderdale was probably a third of what it is in regular years.
Is
and
that
was
right?
the day that the plane was taken off.
Wow.
Because normally when we go down every year, and normally we schedule our airfare sometime in December because that's about as low as you're going to get it for February and March. And the closer it gets to the date of spring training, the higher the fare is. And I mean, the airfare was just about a third.
Wow. Well, still don't matter. I'm not getting on.
But I think you're going to probably start to see it creeping up a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, when did the water rates, the new ones?
John, do I have voting privileges here or not?
No.
Okay. I didn't know if when people
You're
were
just
gone, I
supposed to
didn't-
sit here and look pretty.
You know what?
You can ask a
I
question.
sat there for 5.5 years.
You can raise hell.
Well, I just didn't know if like nobody else was here, did I?
Which would make sense.
Okay.
Would make sense, but
Would
I
make
guess
sense.
according to statute, because I think by statute they can only have 4 members too, can't they?
Yeah.
Really? Huh.
We need another person on this side, though, and we talk about it. We had a list, we had a name, and we always leave it up to the mayor to make the contact. But maybe I need to talk Sandy and,
Yeah.
because it is helpful. It's helpful for discussion purposes
Oh, yeah.
to have more people.
No, and that's fine. When I was reading the emails yesterday with Brad not being here, and I'm like, well, I don't know if I can even
No,
vote.
Well, I think for
John,
me,
you think that's set by state statute?
I think so. I think
City code. I'll check it.
yeah, check that out, because somebody told me it was state statute.
Might be, I'm not saying it's not, I'm just saying.
yeah, I don't
There's a
know.
lot of things that are like
Yeah.
city code that within the state statute, but
What's
it's
that?
not.
I missed it. What are we talking about?
Well, what do you have to have a quorum?
I like to be talked about.
I guess
Makes
we
you
gotta
feel
have
important.
three. Because I always wondered why there wasn't more on this, and they said by state statute it was limited to 4.
That might be true, I don't know.
Oh, it is.
You know, John,
Talking about the Board of Public Works?
It's not set by city code though.
No, it's state, this is a state regulation. As soon as Washington went to a, grade 4 or whatever city, at class 4, it mandated that there was a Board of Public Works over enterprise funds, which is water and sewer. Then that is set by the state.
That's what I thought.
Mandated by the state, you have a 4-committee crew, or membership, with 2 liaisons and 2 council members as council liaisons. That's why we have 4, 2, and 2.
But the liaisons, none of the liaisons are voting members.
No, they're just, they're advisory, basically advisory. So that's like Steve's an engineer.
You're on the advisory board.
So you can listen to everything and say, I think we should maybe do this. You give input,
I don't count.
And then-
Kind of
and
like
then-
at home.
and then what
We want your brain.
and what the council members are members of council that take the information back to the council as a whole and say, yes, we discussed this on this day, and this, like when I bring something to the thing, That's what that's
All
for.
right, that being said, why don't we get this party started? Call this meeting to order of the Board of Public Works, City of Washington, Tuesday, March 23rd. Roll call.
John Dietmeier,
Here.
Mike Ratatek,
Here?
Brad Mitchell, Steve Richardson, Steve Struberg,
Here.
Steve Sullentruck, Mark Wessels,
Here.
And for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We were talking about members. I'm curious, is there an attendance award at the end of the year for regular attendance of the board meetings? Now that could be.
We could start
city-
something.
Okay. Approval of the minutes, we did get an email response from Brad.
And I'll second it.
Steve,
And I'll second the minutes.
and you're seconding it?
Yeah.
All in
probably
favor,
somebody
aye?
here Better second it. Aye.
Aye. I'm not opposed, are you? No.
No, and I think Steve also was approved of it.
Yes, he
Yeah.
approved it too, yes.
Okay, minutes approved, thank you. Okay, Kevin, fill in the blanks.
Nothing.
Okay,
There is no priority.
uh,
Wastewater, unless somebody else has got something priority that I don't know about, but nothing there. Wastewater, our normal stuff, few backups here and there. We go out and investigate them. We do our reports and all that good stuff. So we do have one that's standing right now, I think. I won't give an address or anything, but it was a situation. So, it's kind of standard operational stuff, nothing that, that's out of the ordinary. Treatment plant, we're redoing our SCADA system, making it more accessible for the employees to gain access of the wet well levels and things. And just so everybody knows, I know I don't know if you guys have heard it or been involved in it. There was a thing that happened in Florida with a water plant down there, and it was supposedly hacked. Somebody got in and changed a number that was going to put too much caustic sodium in the system, which could have contaminated everybody. It died, so that tells me that somebody probably internally accidentally fat-fingered a number. You don't hear anything about it anymore. It's pretty much disappeared. Just so everybody knows, our system that we're on, we actually have what they call a three-set I can't even say the word. You have to know 3 different systems to get into it. So you can't just find it on the internet. You can't do a Google for it and say what's the City of Washington's usage. It won't come up. And if you even was able to get it, you would have to have the password to even get into the system and the username. You would have to have a password and a username to get into the app system that we use, and then you would have to have a password and username to actually get into the system.
wow.
So you can't just go out there and say, oh, here, I'm going to do this and I've got it. Say, could it happen? Well, sure, anything could happen.
Right.
But and plus it also goes through our city system, which has its own firewall and protection prior to that.
Okay.
So it's, I don't want to say we're 100% safe, but we're probably as safe as we can be as far as our system. But what we're doing with the SCADA system is that'll give the guys on a heavy rainstorm on a Saturday, they'll be able to pull up the treatment plant and see what the wet well level is coming in, if we have any pumps that have failed that we need to worry about rushing down there, because, we don't man it on the weekends. If somebody comes in for 3 hours and does what they call daily routine Saturday and Sunday, but after that, there's nobody there. So we've never had this opportunity, so now we're going to, by the end of, in 2 months, we'll have it set up to where I'll be able to be sitting at home and say, what does it look like? Or my chief operator down at the plant can pull it up and say, oh, okay, everything's good, or oh boy, we better get in there because I got 2 pumps down that are on the influent, we're gonna have a problem. So,
Most of those major functions are still alarmed and they go to the emergency center?
no, they're all alarmed out to myself.
They go to you?
Yeah, the foremans, the water foreman, the wastewater foreman, the chief operator, and the person on call.
Oh, okay.
So that, we've got, backups of alarms. Now, sometimes they get missed because maybe somebody didn't look at their phone or whatever, but not very often, so. We got a pretty good redundant on that, so.
All right.
Real quick, I just wanted to add something on the wastewater side. When a sewer backup specifically, okay, because those things do happen.
I was going to ask about sewer backups. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah, I mean, those
Answer
things
my
do
question.
happen. I mean, I think, everyone's aware that, we can't control what people put, in their sewer system, which does end up in the public system. So those things can vary from, think about it, banana peels, anything really, quite honestly. So when there's a bend or a pipe that's, minimum grade, those things do tend to build up at times. Now, we are working to identify those pipe sections that are at minimum grade, and we do have, quarterly jetting of those lines. But again, you can jet a line on day one, and then 2 weeks later, there could be a buildup of something that you did not know about. It's just a maintenance thing, and there's not really a whole lot we can do with that. So we would just encourage the public to make sure that, flushable wipes, those things, those are not flushable. Those cause major issues in our sewer system, and quite honestly, we can't even identify what the cause was most of the time. I mean, you could have a sewer backup that clears itself by the time we even respond. So it makes it very difficult for us. And then you get into a situation of of what was the cause, insurance situation. Is the city at fault? Is the city negligent? And 9 times out of 10, or really 10 times out of 10, we're not, because it's not us putting the things into the sewer line, and we're doing what we need to be doing. So another thing, we have a form that we put together. We ran it through our insurance. It's like what to do with a sewer backup. So it provides phone numbers. It provides business hour phone numbers to the wastewater department. It provides after hours business numbers. It provides local vendors that'll provide cleanup services. And then it also provides just the layout of how you file a claim with the city's insurance. And then it provides additional information how to prevent backups in the future. So what we've been doing is literally taking that form and handing it to a homeowner that experiences a backup, rather than get into this he said, she said situation, which we never want to be in the field. So just if you guys want a copy of that or whatever, we have them down here in the building department. I know Kevin's been handing them out too when we have these. But, for backups not to happen, I mean, it's unfortunate. We obviously the goal is to have 0, but that's not really a goal that's probably ever going to be hit.
And I have a video that I want to pass around there, let everybody see, and I'll start with Mark down there, that I want you guys to watch, of our last issue at a lift station that we just had. Today's Tuesday. Well, I guess it was last Friday. Yeah, last Friday. So I got this video. I want you guys to watch it, so you can see what we get in our stations and what's causing the problem. And I'll kind of explain it so when you look at it, you can see. Go get the plate up there. It's not too long, if you would pass it on that one down. So what we had was, let me get over here first before I start hollering. Down at Dinner Rabbit Trail, we've got a lift station. Takes in the Victoria Manor 2 units down there, the retirement or the elderly units. And it also takes in numerous homes now that have been built down there. What you'll see in that video is a pump that's been pulled that is completely plugged up with hand wipes. It's a grinder pump. What a grinder pump is it's actually a pump that has an impeller. Underneath of it, it has an actual knife blade system that's called a grinder, and it's a whole bunch of little knife blades that grinds particles up to make them pumpable. That's what you see in this video is what hand wipes do to every one of our lift stations, which then creates possible backups at the lift station, possible backups upstream because the pump stopped pumping. I would really like to get that video out on YouTube on our city, somehow get that out there so people can see because I honestly don't think people recognize or even realize when they hit that button what's happening in the system. We've all, the industry has tried and tried and tried to get this cleaned up. And not only does it do it in those grinder pumps, clay lines, anywhere that there is a burr, an offset in a pipe. If you use hand wipes and you're wiping your hands, you got a little burr on your fingernail. You know how you can feel it dragging on your fingernail? That's what happens in the pipes. It'll catch. As soon as that catches, it starts catching everything else. The last 5 backups that we've responded to, I'm 99% sure it's due to hand wipes. 99% sure. I can't prove 100%, but what we're seeing, and it's just over and over and over and over again, when we clean out, when we do have the opportunity to see what's coming down, it's hand wipes. It's not even roots is the problem. Roots used to be the biggest problem. Oh, I got roots in the line, well, we're gonna clean it. Now it's not even, it's hand wipes. Hand wipes are the worst thing in the system, and it's just treatment plant. We have, I don't know how many bales of, and dumpsters of debris that doesn't break down. The majority of that is hand wipes. They do not break down. They're flushable, yes, they are not biodegradable.
And every package still says.
Every package says flushable. And yes, they are flushable. Can't say they're not. You can't argue with the manufacturer. They're not lying. They are flushable. They are just not biodegradable. They do not break down.
Wow.
So it's important. I think it's something that we as myself as the superintendent, John as the public works director, you guys and the board here, we need to figure out a way to come up with some kind of a program to get that information out, I think.
We
Got to
did
start somewhere.
We did at the start of the pandemic last year, about this time last year, we put out some Facebook stuff, because we knew people were going to be at home for a little while, those type of things. So we put that out there, and we had a backup actually on the trail. So we put that out there one time. Now, we could look at maybe doing a program where quarterly or, even look at putting some flyers and utility billing, those type of things, to try to get that information out. But we need help. I mean, if the users are not, keep using that type of thing, there's not a lot of things we can fix here.
Have you tried a flyer in utility bill?
No, we haven't tried that. No. We did a Facebook push about a year ago.
I think those, I look at it, when I get my bill and everything, I look at that all the time.
Yeah, no, I would think that that's a good way to reach out. I think, you got to find the priority, right? Because you can only put 3 items, I think, in the utility billing, so it's trying to find a spot to do it. I think that just making everybody aware, of the situation, I think really drives it. But, it's frustrating. I mean, your homeowner experiences a backup, and the cause was due to a blockage due to this, hand wipes and those type of things. I mean, that liability investigation, again, 10 times out of 10 will not be on the city.
Yeah.
And there's not much we can do.
Just like Kevin said, if you just put a note in there, flushable does not mean biodegradable.
Yeah, we could, no, we could come up with something.
And we can come up, so I just want to let you guys be aware of
DNR, EPA, there's a lot of different.
Yeah, there's
flyers
things
that are
out there, but
already
I
that are
think
super
you as
simple
the
to
board,
do. I mean,
because, you guys do,
I just want everybody to be aware that when those things come up, because they do happen, and everyone thinks, well, it was a backup in your system, so you're the one that's liable. That's not true.
Kevin, is there a way to measure as far as the number of backups that we have compared to other cities of our size and stuff like that?
Oh, I don't.
Do we have an inordinate amount of backups, or?
I mean, we could come up with a number of how many we have, but to know how many other communities have, I'd have to call them, and I don't know how freely they're going to want to give that information out. I mean, that is something that, DNR watches this stuff, and we all do our best. When I say we all do our best as providers of services of water and wastewater to follow all the DNR regulations. But sometimes you keep things under your hat a little bit just because you don't want to be known as that town.
The town with the backup.
It's so.
Yeah, the communities that track those things, I doubt that they have something where it's very specific. I mean,
Yeah.
the closest one I could probably think of would be MSD St. Louis, but I mean, even then, it's huge.
It's huge, yeah.
Would it help to reach out to certain businesses? Because I'm just thinking with the water bill, some businesses, the people that work there may never see the water bill. It may go to a different location. I mean, could there be certain places that are?
Well, and that is a good point, because you have people that, and nothing bad about this, but you have people that live outside of the city limits that come in here to work.
Yeah.
And I know a couple businesses that they have hand wipes all over.
Oh, yeah. I mean, just think.
I use hand wipes at my house. I'm not saying I don't use them. I just know not to flush them. I throw them in the trash can.
Go to the
but,
service station anymore, or public restrooms like that, you're gonna
They're there, and you.
have them in your pocket and
So anyway,
Well,
we can start, I do think we can start with the water bill, the utility bill. We'll come up with some
Let us-
kind of flyer. I'll run it by you guys when we come up with it, so you can see what it looks like.
let us come up with
Yeah.
maybe like a PR or a, type push a little bit to kind of come up with something. Just a more of a notice to the citizens. Like I said, we did one last year, at the start of the pandemic, and then things just got kind of crazy on us, but we
Right.
could try to do better. I want to make you all aware that when you get the call, when you get a call of a sewer backup, I mean, again, 10 times out of 10, it's something like that. I mean, rock in a sewer line, we had that issue a couple years ago. How do you get rock in a sewer line? I have no idea. But, these things are things that we can't control.
No.
It's the users that really need to work with us to help us do our jobs. I mean, I'm confident the system works as it should. It's just when you have these things that it's not designed for that enter the system, that's what causes these issues.
On a backup note, but a different issue, I was thinking earlier, it's been a couple of years ago now, thank heavens, but down in the Fawn Valley area, down the low area where we got into these backflow devices,
Yep.
haven't heard a peep about it. I'm assuming that that's all done and
Yeah.
gone, whatever homes were affected.
Well, I think every home that was affected, that's been,
Like 20,
20, 15, 18 years ago. That was a big push, and I think every resident that had a backup issue due to what was going on down there
Yeah.
has a backflow preventer at their home.
and that's important to note there too. Just because you install a backflow preventer doesn't mean you won't have a backup, and especially doesn't mean if you don't maintain it. That backflow preventer is yours as the property owners, not the city's. And if that thing's not being maintained on a basis to where it actually functions, and when you need it, and it doesn't work, that is your responsibility. It's your maintenance, no different than a toilet in your house.
Yep. And they do need maintenance. They need to be cleaned
Yeah.
probably every 6 months at least, because grease,
They gotta be able to move.
yep.
Well, it's a
Stuff in the
gasket, it's a
open.
seal,
Yeah, it's-
right?
it's
And if there's something, a solid on a flat line that doesn't allow that to flap seal shut, it's not gonna work.
Right.
Yeah, so.
They're not foolproof.
All right, that just came to my mind. I thought I'd ask.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Okay, what else going on, Kevin?
Wastewater, well, I think we're done with that. Water's fine. It's part of the water tower thing on the old business, but I'll talk about it now. I met with the paint representative and Cochran Engineering up at Clay Street last Monday. And they took a paint sample off of the tank to ensure that we don't have any lead-based paint on it, which we don't think we do, but always best to know. So that's good. That's out for testing. Once we get that back, I'm hoping that we start seeing some numbers coming in a month or two on at least some on that. So that's kind of where we're at on that. Just kind of it's in process. It's moving forward. It's moving forward good. It's just everything takes time.
Yeah.
I'll give you a quick update too while we're on water towers. As you're aware, the city, we're under contract with a property owner down South Point Road for the new water tower. It's actually about 30 foot higher in elevation. So we're in a due diligence period right now just to verify that those elevations and things are going to work for us. But that has potential to save a significant amount of money when that tank gets constructed. I don't want to necessarily go on record and say how much money at this time, just because we're still waiting on estimates. But a 30-foot in elevation difference is substantial on the height of that tower, which at the location that we were previously at, the 30 acres, the 2 acres that the city owns, we were kind of on the cusp of having to do something like a pedestal style tank, where this would be more of a ground storage tank, similar to what Clay Street would be. So that saves a significant amount of money.
Yeah.
We've not purchased yet. It's not been closed, but we are under contract. The survey is completed, and I'm still waiting on just getting some additional borings just to make sure that the soils and those things are good.
Okay.
So there'll be more to come on that. I just want you to know that ground is under contract, and we'll get that, and then we'll have to go from there. But it's kind of the first
Good
step.
to hear. Yeah, a long time coming on that.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
So,
Yes, it is.
All right.
And
We,
oh, hold on. I do want to let you guys know, we are in our sanitary survey mode with on the water side. DNR will be doing a virtual paperwork review on April 6th with them. Make sure we have all of our paperwork in line, which we do. We got everything. We always get good results from it. And what that is they come in and it used to, in pre-COVID, they would come out and they would go through every well building, sit down with us, go through all of our paperwork. Now we have to do COVID method, which is a WebEx showing paper to the camera. Hey, we got this, we got that, type of thing. And then they will do a visual inspection the following that week on the 14th, myself and one of the DNR representatives. So we're being audited on our distribution system. Every year since I've been in charge and every year since I've been here, we've always done wonderful with it, so I expect nothing less at this time. We have built chlorine rooms in all of our well buildings to separate the chlorine from the rest of the building, so we don't deteriorate all the electrical, because chlorine is it's a pain to use. If anybody thinks we're having fun doing this, we are not. It's a real struggle. But anyway, we're doing that with our well buildings so that the well building's life lasts longer. Otherwise, we'd be replacing electrical devices all the time with that. So we're handling that. So that's about it. So I'll let you know we're in a review phase, and so it'll all be good. But just want to let you know in case somebody would question it. Nothing you guys have to worry about unless something happens that I don't know about. Then I'll have to bring it to you. But yeah, I don't foresee that.
Always hate that, yeah. Okay. Well, we talked about the water towers in both regards. What about Meadow Lake? We got that email a couple weeks ago about the pipes to start moving ahead with a purchase contract. Did that?
Yes.
Did that go to council then?
Went to council. It was approved. We have, the pipe is on order. It should be here on the 26th. Now, that's dependent on the factory, the manufacturer that's making the pipe. We are going to, I say we, myself and 4 of my crew are going to Owensville to be trained on using the fusion machine. And that's how we saved a lot of money doing that, because we'll only pay $300 a day for the fusion machine, and we'll fuse it ourselves, compared to a few $1,000s a day to have somebody else come in and do it.
Right.
My guys they're talented. I'm going to have I'll have 4 people, so I'll have 2 crews trained that'll be working together. So when one crew's not there, the other crew will be able to keep on working. We'll just keep on rolling. So I'm hoping by middle of April, first part of April, we can get started on it. Weather's going to be kind of a thing, but we're ready to go. We're going to use traffic control to do our traffic control on Pottery Road. We will be shutting one lane down on Pottery Road every day that we work. We'll shut it down in the morning. We'll do our work. We'll open it back up in the evening. Next morning, we'll shut it down. We'll do our work. We'll open it back up in the evening. We're working that through. I'm hoping 2 or 3 weeks we've got it done. That's our goal now. Who knows? Things could happen that we don't know about. We may run into more rock than what we're anticipating. Just things that could happen that might extend it. But our goal is we want to get in there and get out of there as fast as we can.
Kevin, what do you anticipate to be the closing hours on Pottery?
It's probably going to be somewhere around 8 to probably 4. We haven't really got that figured out yet. I'm probably going to go out there and maybe just watch traffic, just to see what time. I'll get out there at 6 o'clock in the morning and sit there till 8, and then go back out in the afternoon and see, kind of do our own little traffic study, just to see. But I want to start as early as I can, and I want to start work as late as we can, just to get it done. So it's going to be something that we're just going to have to.
And just to be clear, that's one lane. It'll be a flagging operation, so it's not that you're closed 100%. It's just a flagging operation, kind of standard procedure, really. But and probably half of that run, from 100 to Meadow Lake is working outside the pavement just a little
we
bit.
won't be
So it's
shutting
not
down.
the entire length.
Yeah. It's actually going to
really
start
just around the bend where that.
Yeah,
where
close to Holt Gravy Road to Meadow Lake Farm.
That'll be the worst spot.
Is where the worst spot will be for.
Yep.
'Cause the rest of it will be working on the shoulder side. So.
So, and again, it's a little bit fluid right now. I don't want to get too fired up about getting dates and those things out, and we're not going to use message boards and those things. I mean, it's a flagging operation. This is not a total shutdown.
Yeah, we're not shutting it down completely. So.
The fusing, which would indicate to me we're using a different material, and you may have explained this some time back, I don't know. Is that a new standard that we're doing with your water pipe, or I know you were talking about the fusing going under the highway, and I thought, okay, well, that's because they gotta use a certain pipe under the highway and refusing it, but now you're going up the way with it. Is that a new standard or a better way of doing business, or what?
Well, it's a better way to install what we call a transmission line, and that's exactly what this is a transmission line. It's not something that readily in the future we're gonna be attaching a new line to. So, that's why I'm using it. When you can eliminate any type of a connection that's a movable connection. So when you got a piece of PVC pipe, you have what they call a bell and a spigot. You got a bell on this end and you got a spigot on this end. You slide them together to put the pipe together. That's all a movement place that can expand and contract. There's a certain point you got to stop at so that it can contract, and it's got a certain area that it can expand on. You always have problems with that. When we come to a corner where we have to put in an MJ fitting, your movement point comes to end up being about 2 inches where you slide the pipe in. If you don't get that exactly right, then you have a point where you could have a possible leak if you don't get it blocked right. With fusion, you take 2 pieces of pipe and you literally heat them and press them and fuse them together. They become bonded as one piece of pipe. So as we're going through this project, anywhere we have a bend, it's called HDPE pipe. It's high density polyethylene pipe. It's flexible forgiving. So it can be actually flexed to go around a bend where we may have to put like an 11 1/4 bend. We now have used that pipe to make that bend where there's no stress, no structural stress on it. There's no fatigue to it. It's designed for that. That's why we're using it, because we're just taking water from Clay Street and we're taking it to Meadow Lake Farms. We do have one connection to get it into the new developments there, but we'll actually fuse in a fusible T as we're going through, and then go from there with a MJ valve, and then out, they'll take it from there. The water industry has just started using fusion pipe probably in the last, I'm gonna say 5 years, maybe 6 years, something like that. It's not readily used a whole lot. Some people still don't trust it, they don't like it, whatever. I trust it, I like it. We've used it under creek crossings, works great for that, and it's gonna work great for this. As the industry has started using it more, they're developing saddles that can actually clamp around those now, like we do PVC, and you can actually clamp a saddle on it, drill it, and then you have a connection onto that line. So the water industry, the gas industry has been using it for years. The mining industry's been using it for years for taking water out of their slurry ponds that they have to have. It's just the water industry is always, you're always kind of back a little bit, and it's, so that's why you're hearing about it a little bit more, is because it's starting to develop itself more of a better need or a better use in communities, so.
Thank you.
We're one of them communities that's gonna use it. I trust it, I like it. It's so much easier. Now that my guys are gonna be trained on using it, and we may use it even more when projects warrant it. Like maybe that'd be a good example that we're still really not on yet, but we could be, is when we put that water tower out on the southeast side of town, there's gonna be a line that has to go to that. That may be where we use that, because there won't be anything tied to it. It would be just a feed line to the tower. Perfect place for that, because we do have a couple little angles we gotta go around, so that would be the perfect place for that.
Sounds good.
Fine. That's about that for Meadow Lake.
Any other questions? Any other discussion? Any motions to adjourn?
So moved.
So moved and seconded.
All right.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Very informative. I just like these meetings when we don't have a lot of pressing information.
And we can kind of talk about some things.
Oh,
See, I like talking about things when I have things to talk about. I'm not just one to just generate conversation.
I have a question.
We're still on if you, which one did you know anybody's here?
Yeah, just attach it to
No.
Dad, can I put that down in sewer? The sanitary. And I I said, well, I don't know, that's a good point. I said, well, I got a meeting Tuesday, I'll ask.
We don't allow it here, I can't see them allowing it there. I just,
Is it because it's a pollutant or it damages the ecosystem?
it's both, it's a pollutant and it does damage.